Hi, my name is Christiansen. In this video, we're going to talk about writing the equation of a line through 2 points. There are 2 problem types. In one of them, they're going to give you a picture of a graph, like the one behind me, and you're going to come up with an equation for it. And in the other problem type, they'll just tell you what 2 points are, and you won't have a picture of the graph, but you'll be able to come up with an equation for the line. I'll try to do 2 examples of each problem type. And after I've done the first few, I would like to encourage you to pause the video and try to work out what the equation of the line is, and then start the video and see if what I do matches what you've done. So the first one we're going to look at is this problem here. So this is the first problem type where they just give you the 2 points. So I'm going to move this over to the blackboard and we'll talk about it over there. Here it is. It asks us to find the equation of the line that passes between these 2 points. I'm going to write down the point-slope form of a line, which is this: y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. M is the slope, and we can find the slope between these 2 points using this formula: y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So let's call one of these points x1, y1. Let's make it the first one. And we'll call the second point x2, y2. So if we plug in those numbers into this slope formula over here, what will we get? Well, let's see. y2 is 2. y1 over here is negative 4. So I'm going to use parentheses to write that. On the bottom, we have x2, which is 6, minus x1 is also negative 4, so I'm going to put another pair of parentheses and write negative 4 inside the parentheses. Okay, so on the top, this means 2 plus 4, right? And on the bottom, we have 6 plus 4. So on the top, we have 6. On the bottom, we have 10. And we can reduce this fraction to 3/5. Okay, so that is our m, which is going to go right here. The only other thing we need to plug into this formula is x1 and y1. So we could use either one of those points, but for consistency, I'm going to use this first point. So right here where the m is, I'm going to replace that by the 3/5 down here. Then we have x minus, and I'm going to put a pair of parentheses where x1 is going to go. Because x1 is negative 4, this is going to let us keep track of our double negative sign. Then over here on the left-hand side, we're also going to open up a pair of parentheses to put in negative 4 for y1. Okay. Now, we should simplify this if we can, and we also need to solve it for y. The first step I would take in simplifying it is I would change these double negatives in both places to addition. So the left-hand side is the same as y plus 4. And on the right-hand side, the things in parentheses, that's the same as x plus 4. Okay? Now, let's distribute this 3/5. So we're going to multiply it by x and by 4. So on the left, we'll still have y plus 4. 3/5 times x is 3/5 x. 3/5 times 4 is 12 over 5. Right? We just multiply the top. Okay, now the last step is going to be to get the y by itself, so we need to subtract 4 from both sides. So on the left, we'll have just y. On the right, we're going to have 3/5 x. And then we're going to have what is 12/5 minus 4. That needs to go like right here on the end. So let's work that out over here to the side. Let's give ourselves some more room. 12/5 minus 4 is the same as 12/5 minus 4 over 1. And to get a common denominator, we're going to multiply the tops and the bottom of the second fraction by 5. So this is going to be equal to 12 over 5 minus 20 over 5. Okay, and now we can subtract the numerators. 12 minus 20 is negative 8, and the denominator is 5. So we've got negative 8/5. So that's what goes on the end here. So we're going to have 3/5 x minus 8 over 5. Okay. Let's go back over to Alex and we'll put in that answer and then see what the next problem is. Awesome. Okay, this is the second problem type where they give you a graph and they ask you to find the equation of the line from the graph. So again, we're going to use the point slope form of a line, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The reason that I'm using this instead of the more familiar y equals mx plus b is that the b is the y-intercept, right? But I can't tell just by looking at this graph exactly what that is. It's some number between -1 and -2, but I'm not sure exactly what. So that's why we're gonna use this method. So again, our first step is going to be to find the slope. And since we have the graph, that might make this a little bit easier because remember that the slope m is the rise over run between the 2 points. So we can start at this point on the left. And we're going to figure out how far we have to rise. So what is the up or down motion between those 2 points? It looks to me like we have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? So the distance of this line or the length of this line I just drew is 9. But since we're going down, this is a movement in the negative y direction or a negative rise. So we're going to write -9 for the rise on the top of this fraction. And then the run is the horizontal movement. So since we're moving from left to right in the direction of positive x, this is going to be positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the length of this line is 6. And so that's what goes on the bottom of our slope fraction here. And we should reduce this if we can, or simplify it if we can. My head's going to be in the way, but we can divide both of those numbers by 3. We'll get -3 over 2 for our slope. Okay, so that's what's going to go right here where the m is, -3 over 2. Okay. Now I'm going to rewrite the rest of this equation, but I'm going to open up some pairs of parentheses where I need to plug things in. So I need to plug in for the y1 right here and the x1 right here. So I'm going to leave some open parentheses in those spots. For the point x1, y1, we could pick either one of the points that are shown in the graph below, either one of these 2 points. Let's use this first one, the one on the left. We would get the same answer if we used the other point. But I'm going to pick this one. So what are the coordinates of that point right there? The x value is -3, and the y value looks like 3. So that point is -3, 3. So we are going to plug in -3 for x1 right here, and we'll plug in +3 for y1 right here. Okay, and now in the next step, I'm going to get rid of the parentheses where I can. So on the left-hand side, nothing changes. This just means y minus 3. But on the right-hand side, we can change that double negative sign to addition. So x minus -3 is the same as x plus 3. I'm going to erase this stuff and move our last step right here up to the top. Like in the last problem, our next step is going to be to distribute this fraction. So we're going to multiply that -3/2 by the x and the 3. So on the left-hand side, we'll just have y minus 3. On the right, we're going to have -3 over 2 times x. And what is, well, this is going to be negative, right? So I should put a negative or a subtraction sign here because we're multiplying the negative fraction by the positive number 3. So we're going to have a minus sign there. And we just multiply the top numbers, right? So this is -9 over 2. Okay, now the last thing that we need to do to get the y by itself is to add 3 to both sides, so that this will cancel out, and on the left-hand side, we're just going to have y. On the right-hand side, we'll have -3 over 2x, and then we need to add these two numbers together. What is -9 over 2 plus 3? Let's work that out up here in the corner. All right, so So I'll make a little bit of room here. So we've got negative 9 over 2 plus 3. We're gonna rewrite it as 3 over 1. And to get a common denominator, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So that would be 6 over 2, right? So this number, 6 over 2, is the same as 3. Now we can add the tops. Negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3. And the common denominator was 2. So our answer should be negative 3 over 2x plus negative 3 halves, or negative 3 over 2x minus 3 over 2. So I'm going to put that answer in now. Great, let's do another problem. Okay, this one is like the first one that we worked on. And I'd like to encourage you right now to pause the video and see if you can write the equation of the line through these 2 points. You might want to go back and look at the first example. And in the meantime, I'm going to copy this over to the blackboard and we'll work on it there. All right, so our goal is going to be to write first the point slope form of the line, which is this. And our first step is going to be to get the slope between these 2 points. Okay, so we are going to use m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And let's call the first point x1, y1, and the second point is going to be our x2, y2. All right, so on the top of the fraction here, we're going to have 6 minus 2. And on the bottom, we'll have 2 minus negative 4. So this is how we should write that. 2 minus parentheses negative 4. Okay, on the top, 6 minus 2 is 4. And on the bottom, this means 2 plus 4, right? 2 minus negative 4 is 2 plus 4, which is 6. And we can simplify this. This is 2/3. So that's going to be our m. Now, we are also going to plug in y1 and x1. So I'm going to first start by writing the equation with some open parentheses where I need to plug things in. The m right here, I'm not going to use parentheses for that. We know it's just going to be 2/3, so I'm just going to write that, 2/3 for the m. Okay, now for x1, we have negative 4, so that goes in here. And for y1, we have 2, so that goes right here. Now in the next step, we'll drop the parentheses. In here, we have x plus 4, right? Okay, now we need to distribute the 2/3. So we'll have y minus 2 equals 2/3 times x plus, what is 2/3 times 4? It's 8/3, right? We just multiply the tops. Okay, now we need to add 2 to both sides to get y by itself. And we will have y equals 2/3 x. And then on the end, we have the sum of 8/3 and 2. And that's certainly it's going to be a positive number. So I'll go ahead and write the plus sign. So what is 8/3 plus 2? Let's work that out. 8/3 plus 2 over 1, right, is, well, we need a common denominator, so we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 3. What would that be? That would be 6/3, right? So 6 over 3, that's the same as adding 2. And 8 plus 6 is 14. So we've got 14/3 here. And that's what goes on the end. I'm going to go back over to Alex and put this answer in. Y equals 2/3 x plus 14/3. Okay, in this problem, we have the second problem type, the one where they just give us a graph to start with. So again, I'd like to encourage you to pause the video here, try to work out what the equation for this line is, and then unpause the video when you think you're ready. So what we need to do is we need to write the equation, excuse me, we need to write the equation of this line, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And this is the point slope form of a line. So our first step is going to be to find the slope. So we're going to start at the point on the left, and we're going to find what is the rise over run. So starting at this point here, we have to go up 2 to get to the next point. So the rise is 2, positive 2, right? Because we're going up. And then the run is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's positive 4 because we're moving in the positive x direction. We can simplify this. This is 1/2, right? So we're going to plug in a 1/2 for m, and then we're going to open up some parentheses here where we need to plug in the y1 and the x1. Okay, let's pick one of these points to use for our x1, y1. So I'm going to write x1, y1 equals x1, y1 equals, let's use this point. I like the look of that one. That point is what? That is -1, -1. It's got -1 for the x value and for the y value. And that makes it easy to plug in, right? We just need to put -1s in both of these places. Now in the next step, we're going to get rid of parentheses. So we need to change these double negatives to a plus sign and these double negatives to a plus sign. Y plus 1 equals 1/2 x plus 1. Okay, now in our next step, we're going to distribute the 1/2. And I'm going to erase my, my slope calculation down here so that we have some room to do that. So on the left, we're going to have y plus 1. On the right, 1/2 times x is, well, that's just 1/2 times x, plus 1/2 times 1, which is just 1/2, right? In the final step, we need to subtract 1 from both sides. So we will have y equals 1/2 x. And what is 1/2 minus 1? What is 0.5 minus 1? Be -0.5. This is going to be -1/2. Okay, so let's put in that answer. Awesome, that was correct, and I hope that that's what you got when you worked it out by yourself. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I hope that you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.